themes of the movie is empowering girls to become entrepreneurs. If you weren't an actress, what sort of work would you have gone into, like entrepreneurial?
Wow, entrepreneurial? Maybe if I had to create something, I would be in some sort of self-help. Because I really believe that ideas are worth more than products. And I think that people often struggle to find their own self-esteem. So, yeah, I don't know. Something that encourages people to find what makes them unique.
So it seems that women-driven comedies are pretty popular now. What do you think about female comedians in Hollywood today?
I love female comedians, and I think there's never been more than there is right now, and I hope there will be many, many more. I think that all the female comedians I know and the ones I look up to are proving that they are just as valuable and can be as versatile as the male comedians.
And, were you part of any organization like the Girl Scouts when you were younger?
I was a brownie. I think I quit before I entered the Girl Scouts, but I was a brownie.
Oh, okay. You enjoyed it? Yeah.
Yes, very much, very much. It makes those young groups, they make you feel like you belong.
Yeah.
You know, in early adolescence, that's really important, I think.
Do you have any stories for us about
being in the brownies?
Yeah.
I remember we used to go on a lot of camping trips, and one thing they encouraged was your own autonomy. And my mom was going to be a counselor for the trip, and she maintained that I should call her Counselor Belle instead of Mom, which was very difficult for me to wrap my head around at 7 or 8 years old, and I hated it. But now I see why she did it. She didn't want me to have any special treatment.
So what does family mean to you?
Oh, everything. I think family, however you choose to identify it, I don't believe there's a dictionary definition of family. I think it can be anything and anyone if you choose. And my hope for the world is that people learn that we're kind of all one big family. I don't personally believe in the us and them. I think it's just us, and I think we're all sort of a big human family. And I think that the best projects are also ones that at their heart are about family, which this movie is.
So have you ever had a sour business deal, and if so, how did you handle it?
I'm not a very good businesswoman. I'm definitely much more of a creative. Thankfully, I don't really remember a bad business deal, but I'm not really doing my own business deals. As an actor, you have an agent to do like all the smart stuff, and then you just sort of do the on-camera work.
So if you were a boss, what kind of boss would you be, you think?
I would be I would strive to be a very respectful boss. And I would strive to be a boss that encourages the people that work for me. I mean, maybe it's just my addiction to utopia, but I like this idea of holacracy, which their businesses, like I think Zappos applies to holacracy, which is this idea that everyone is sort of on the same level and everyone can attend a business meeting if they want to, from the janitorial staff up onto the executives. And I just think that's kind of a beautiful idea in business where everyone's valuable.
Tell me, what attracted you to this script?
It was very funny. I'm a big fan of Melissa. And I think there were so many scenes that I'd never seen before. I'd never seen a woman try to whiten another woman's teeth on camera. I'd never seen a boob slapping fight, and I'd never seen a child street fight. So I thought it was a pretty experimental, absurd, funny comedy with a lot of heart.
So how was it to work with Melissa?
Melissa is a human dream. She is the polar opposite, the antithesis of the character she plays in this movie. She's one of the best bosses I've ever had. She has an ability to make you feel like an old friend the moment you meet her, and that's a very special quality in a person.
Are there any scenes that she threw you off because it was just so funny?
She threw me off in a lot of scenes, particularly in the scene where I, as her assistant, am forced to whiten her teeth. She had this absurd contraption in her mouth that they have in dental offices that that pull your cheeks so far back. So I was staring at her skeleton, basically, and looking right down her throat. And what we didn't anticipate was that she was going to be drooling the whole scene. So you can't swallow. You can't close your throat. So I was having to sort of mop up her drool the whole time. And when she would improvise in that scene, I couldn't really understand what she was saying, which just made it even funnier.
So in the film, you have an office job. Have you ever had an office job in real life?
Not an office job. No one's trusted me with that, with a computer or numbers or data of any sort. But I worked in retail for a minute before I was an actor.
Where?
In Soho, in New York. I was living in New York City. And I worked in Soho selling clothes.
So if you were not acting, what would you have done?
I probably would have gone into social work of some sort or foster care advocacy. I have a real soft spot for kids in general, but particularly kids that feel forgotten. And so I would definitely, my motherly instincts since I've had children have just exploded and I can't contain them. So I would definitely work somewhere in the foster care system.
Being the mother of 2 girls, would you allow them to be in the Girl Scouts selling cookies? Or?
Yeah. I might, I don't love them eating sugar because they're really hard to deal with on sugar. It makes them crazy. But I think, the brownies and the Girl Scouts, I think they're great groups, and I think it's really important for adolescent girls especially to be in a safe place where they can talk about what on earth is happening in their minds and their bodies as they're growing. So I like groups like that.
How did motherhood transform you?
It put me in touch with the instincts I'd sort of always had but ignored to nurture people. And it really gives me a high to take care of other people. So now I've gotten a ton of self-esteem of being a good mother, but it's also made me want to be a really good example for my kids. And I think I'm a happier person since I've had children.